A story of romance and sexual tension. Two men and their taboo love in a time where those relationships aren't understood or accepted. The women don't get it, and neither do the men for that matter. The only thing that's real are the feelings they have for one another. Yes, this is the story of Berserk.
What happens if I win? You can have whatever you want, my sword or my ass. From now on, you belong to me. Oh no! Now I've done it! I will have my own kingdom. You must fight for me, because you belong to me. I will choose the place where you will die for me. Tell me something. Huh? If I'm just a soldier who serves you, why would you risk your life for me? No reason in particular. Are you leaving the Hawks? Turning your back on us? Sorry, but yes. Goodbye.
This interruption is brought to you by this video sponsor, the Butthole Bodega on DeviantArt, where my likeness has been captured along with many others. Very talented. Would you believe the artist is an insurance salesman? The Butthole Bodega, where dreams find their buttholes. Alright, spoilers. All his life, he was a curse. His mom died horribly, then his adoptive mom died horribly, then his adoptive father sold him for 3 silver coins, then he died horribly too, by God's own hand. So he tried to shut everybody out. "Don't touch me!" he'd say, "Don't touch me!" Until a certain someone, a special certain someone, appeared. Griffith, the most prettiest twink the world had ever seen, Oh boy, they said, look how beautiful he is, more than all the other girls even. Confusing. It's confusing to Guts, to the reader. Guts got sucked into the raging inferno of Griffith, as he put it. One second he's an angry, antisocial outcast. The next, he's an angry, antisocial outcast surrounded by people. So, Guts built up all that sexual tension with Griffith. Classic will they, won't they dynamic, splash fight, adventures, love triangle with Casca. But Guts wasn't feeling it. Guts only wanted one thing, to play around with his big, fat sword. That worked for Griffith. Just so happened he needed a strong chat around so he could come off like a brilliant military tactician. His strategy relied on Guts, relied on having a rapid beast going berserk, killing everybody. Griffith found a twisted, dangerous person and used him for his own purposes, same as he would anyone else. But there was something more. He wasn't accustomed to having feelings for other people, to be distracted from his dream. Griffith had a child mentality. He wanted his own kingdom. Why? Never bothered to explain why, really. Just liked to talk about how great he was, stacking as many bodies as it took to get to the top. No greater ideology, just some philosophy 101 level stuff to the princess. That's right, baby, I'm a real life hotshot. Problem was, without any emotional intelligence to back it up, he could never articulate his feelings in a healthy way. Tragically, because if he'd explained to Guts that there was an empty space in his backside that could only be filled by Guts' two-hander, then maybe they could have been happy together. But we all know what happened. Griffith shot himself in the foot with the fountain speech. If everything Guts did wasn't enough to earn his friendship, then he would leave and find his own dream, grow as a person. Guts. He broke it down for Casca. What matters most to him is the sword. Took him a year in the mountains to figure that out. What is the sword? The sword is a phallic symbol. The demons are vaginas. That's why Guts always goes for the sword, sometimes with his teeth. Smashing his opponent with BDE, breaking them, he emasculates the enemy. He got Griffith with it so bad he ended up getting D-dicked by a goblin. That's no joke. What Guts does to men, he destroys them. Griffith didn't last 2 minutes after Guts broke up with him. Went full-blown crazy immediately, burned everything down. He didn't bang the princess because he wasn't suddenly gay for Guts. That's exactly why he did it. Desperate rebound. Guy was thinking about Guts the whole time just to get through it.
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.
Guts goes and saves Griffith from the goblin. They escape, but instead of living happily ever after, Casca tells Guts he has to leave, has to go based on what Griffith said at the fountain. Griffith can't stand the idea of losing Guts all over again. What does he do? He rides off and onwards, towards his dream, or whatever remains of it. He crashes just in time for the eclipse. And what does he say as Guts is running towards him? If you put your hand on my shoulder now, if you touch me now, I'll never get in another naked splash fight with you. Okay, now let's get serious for a second. I'm acting a little silly here, but I don't want any misunderstandings. I'm serious. I'm not doing this for the meme, to troll people for Berserkle Jerk clout. I reread the manga again just to make sure I'm not going crazy. I'm genuinely convinced this is a bad romance, a toxic relationship that goes beyond a simple homoerotic dynamic. Here's the argument that could be made against what I've been saying. The simple fact is, they never kissed, never had sex, rubbed buttholes, whatever. It's a good point, and it's the main point that can be made to dismiss this video as clickbait trolling. But in my view, it can only be made if someone never goes beyond the Golden Age arc, which is more common than you may think. Someone watches the 97 anime, trilogy movies, Memorial Edition. It comes off like Mira is subverting your expectations. You see, it wasn't about gay medieval lovers because the eclipse happened. But here's the thing. The manga has to be read fully to understand the Berserk world. Because this is Berserk we're talking about. The closest thing to a normal romance was when Guts bangs Casca, but then she immediately triggers his PTSD and gets choked out. Everybody's damaged goods. The worst possible thing happens to every character. There could never be a traditional healthy relationship, because what their world has to offer is violence, death, domination. Griffith likes settling things by force. Guts likes killing people with a sword. What could romance mean to people like them? Exactly this. Sexual tension, punctuated by the odd fight, blood, death, and gore. What is the sword? What are the demons? The monsters? It's all symbolic. When Guts put Griffith's sword in his mouth, that was Griffith's penis. When Guts breaks Griffith's sword and abandons him, when Griffith tells Guts he can never wield such a large sword, anytime you see a sword in this manga, think penis. Seriously, read the whole manga like that, and pretty soon you'll be a degenerate magician like me, skin green, arguing with normies on the internet. All knowledge comes at a price, and this is the knowledge I have to give you. Hard-earned through much research, editing, and sleepless nights. Behold. So what? So what? Is it cringe? Am I embarrassing? Somebody leave another comment.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. We won't be happy till you sound like Tupac.
How about I say it how I want to? Buckle your seatbelts, I haven't even gotten into the juicy bits.
This shit is killing me, and I don't even know if anybody's gonna watch it. Bark at my neighbors.
Probably think I'm a
Serial killer.
Guts. Don't try to stop me, man.
Dragon Slayer Guts, give me strength.
So you're still watching. Maybe you're buying into it. Maybe you're not. This crazy guy, what the hell even is this? You're telling me this is their own perverted form of romance? If Guts is supposed to be Mura, and Griffith, based on his friend, or vice versa, was Mr. Kentucky subconsciously writing a love story between himself and lifelong friend? What are you saying? Because when Aldro never married, he was having his own kind of forbidden love story, which has never before been insinuated by even the most perverse of his fan base until now. I don't know, maybe. I saw these pictures, this seems sus. The theory would explain the underlying, barely repressed homoeroticism present in every arc of this manga, which tries to compensate with an ultra-masculine Guts. Got a dick so big he's the closest thing their world has to a hero, followed around by a naked little fairy. Yeah, he could have drawn a big titty Twinkle Bell for Guts if he wanted, but that's not Mura. Guts' story is always some girl, oh my god, what a hunk, and some twink to antagonize or tempt Guts to play swords. Notice he's always too cool for the ladies, too busy with his war mission, Battlelust Death Wish. But the twinks, oh yeah, they get his full attention every time. It's not an accident, and when you consider violence is better than sex to a warrior, more intimate, when fighting rules a person's life, and the only way to forge a deeper connection with the person is by risking everything in combat, then battle doesn't just become a temporary substitute for sex or traditional romance, it replaces it completely. Until you end up with something akin to a toxic relationship, ruled by emotion, obsession. Guts hates Griffith. If he thinks about Griffith even a little bit, he goes full-blown berserk. Who's the first person you think about in the morning? The last person you think about before you go to sleep? It could only be love or hate to allow someone to dominate your thoughts, living rent-free in your head.
I wish I knew how to quit you. Then why don't you just let me be, huh? Because of you, Jack, that I'm like this. Nothing. I'm nowhere. Oh. Stop me!
With Griffith, it's obvious. The way he looks at Guts, the way he talks to him, how quickly he crumbles and falls apart after Guts breaks up with him. He's so deep in the closet, all hope of understanding his emotions and handling them with any degree of maturity is lost. People can say, Guts was Griffith's most valuable pawn, his asset. Without him, he would never be able to win and stuff. But think about it. After Griffith is elevated to General of the White Tiger Knights, he has the power to recruit any number of strong men. He could literally find 20 of the greatest...
You don't even know what he's saying. Griffith. Griffith. Guts is the one that matters.
But with Guts, there's something more. Something special. They say Griffith is special, not Guts. No, he's a brute, a dog. But the reality is, Guts is special. His backstory, the way he fights, people are drawn to him. Griffith falling for his magneticism is what got Guts into this mess in the first place. And with Griffith...
Alright, spoiler. Read the entire manga, then come back.
People caught in the middle of mankind's struggle against the current of causality. When Kodo dies, he says he was just lucky to have known Guts in the first place. It may be Griffith's story, but Guts is our protagonist. And his story can be taken down to its very essence. Take away the monsters, all nuance, and refine it to the sad, sordid truth. These boys are desperately in love, and the more they fight against it, the more their world is torn apart and changed. Ruined. So it doesn't matter if Guts' original motivations were because he wanted this special person's approval and friendship, or if later he's motivated by his need to fight, to destroy Griffith for what he did to the Hawks. It doesn't matter if he's gay, it's besides the point. But he is, whether he likes it or not. Because Griffith definitely is gay for Guts. And Guts is playing directly into Griffith's hand, start to finish, swinging his big dick around for his former femboy sweetheart. That's about as gay as it gets. And that's okay. Or it would be, if it weren't the most toxic relationship that ever existed. Any doubts, any attempts to argue those facts aren't really possible. Why? Because Mirror takes it to the next level, because of the baby they share. The baby corrupted by the sin of the parents, divorced child, spawn of Satan, child of Guts and Casca, deformed by Griffith, merged with the egg Bailet, transformed into Griffith himself, the Absolute. Without this baby, Griffith wouldn't feel anything for Guts. His last tear would have frozen. But like with real narcissistic people, the kid they had keeps them together, to everyone's detriment. Griffith came back, and he says he feels nothing. He believes it. He thinks he's free to pursue his dream without being obsessed with Guts. But then, just like before, just as soon as he sees his man's fight, he feels a faint throbbing. My blood should be frozen. Yeah. Before he rides off, he says, I will get my own kingdom. And nothing has changed, which is true. He's still getting his own kingdom, but he also knows his feelings are still there. Literally, nothing has changed after all that. It's spoon-fed to the reader. Nothing has ended. Still, they'll try to argue, but if Griffith were a girl, looking at Guts like that, favoring him, going crazy after Guts left, no one would question the love. But just like cowboys and real life, just because people don't understand something doesn't mean it's not legitimate. Doesn't mean the feelings aren't there.
Tell you what. The truth is, sometimes I miss you so much I can hardly stand it.
A story of romance and sexual tension. Two men and their taboo love in a time where those relationships aren't understood or accepted. The women don't get it, and neither do the men for that matter. The only thing that's real are the feelings they have for one another. Yes, this is the story of
The Butthole Bodega, where dreams find their buttholes.